India, which is all set to host the Voice of the Global South Summit in a virtual format. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be presiding over the summit, as the MEA has said that this summit is expected to generate further momentum for achieving a more inclusive, representative and progressive world order. Now, this is the second VOGSS that would be focusing on the sharing with countries of Global South, the key outcomes achieved in various G20 meetings over the course of India's presidency, the challenges that have been posed by global developments that are also likely to be discussed. This is going to be the first virtual summit witnessed by participation of 125 countries of Global South and was dominated by the Ukraine war. But the upcoming summit is now expected to echo the rumblings of the Israeli military operation in Gaza Strip as well. It is also likely to reflect on India's evolving equation with the bloc of Global South countries as well, as nearly all of the countries voted in favor of the ceasefire in Gaza Strip on the 26th of October at the UN General Assembly session, when India had abstained. Now, the summit that has been arranged into 10 different sessions, with the inaugural and the concluding sessions that has been meant for the head of states and governments. Prime Minister Modi will be inaugurating the first session, which has been themed, as I quote, "Together for everyone's growth with everyone's trust," unquote.
As you are aware, the second Voice of Global South Summit is being held in virtual mode tomorrow. The inaugural session, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will commence at 10 o'clock in the morning. This would be followed by 4 parallel ministerial sessions beginning at 12:30 p.m. These will include the sessions by Ministers of Foreign Minister, EM, Education, Finance and Environment. In the afternoon, 4 more parallel ministerial sessions are scheduled. These will begin at 4 p.m. These will include the sessions, again, by EM, as by the Ministers of Energy, Health and Commerce. And finally, there will be a leaders session again, a concluding session at 6:30 p.m.
Now, Global South is a term that is used to refer to developing world, and India has helmed the initiatives to address the issues faced by a number of countries, such as developmental challenges, debt issues, climate change, food and energy security, etc. So India, being a member of the G20 group that has emerged as one of the largest economies, it is also serving as a platform to amplify the voices of the developing world at the world stage. Now, under India's presidency of the G20, the African Union, that was also inducted as a permanent member of the G20, which was seen as a major achievement of Indian presidency and a sign of Indian leadership that is growing across the world.
We are highly impressed with the manner in which Prime Minister Modi.
Rishabh joining us right now. Rishabh, we have gone through exactly when it comes to the themes, and of course Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who will be inaugurating the first session of the Voice of the Global South Summit.
Well, definitely. Today is the second Voice of Global South Summit, which is happening virtually. About 125 countries are expected to join this summit. There will be around 10 sessions in the whole day, starting 10 a.m. IST, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be addressing. What's important? The first Global South Summit happened in January. That's where, when India had taken over G20 presidency, India asked the Global South, what do you want us to do? What do you want India as president of G20? What are your expectations from G20, and how can we work for a mutual development of Global South? There were, reactions, there were recommendations, there were suggestions that came in from Global South. India very firmly put those recommendations on table when the G20 meetings happened. India tried to ensure that it benefits the Global South. Today is the report card day. India will end its G20 presidency on 30th of November. We are on 17th today. India will put forward what all it did for the Global South, and the things that were recommended by the Global South Forum, were they addressed at G20 or not? You mentioned African Union. Yes, that was the biggest achievement, to allow and induct African Union as full-time member of G20, and that's something India will boast about. But apart from that, given the world that we are living in, be it the Ukraine conflict, be it the Israel-Hamas conflict, these things will surface, because this also affect the energy, This also affect the food supply. This also affect a lot of trade and investment. So these things will come up. There are, issues, bilateral issues between the members of Global South as well. That will also be put on table and discussed.
All right.
So education, health, corporate affairs,
So as
finance.
Rishabh mentioned, the second summit that is going to be, as India is projecting itself as a representative of the Global South and has worked during its G20 presidency to ensure that the concerns of the developing countries are recognized and their priorities are factored into efforts to find solutions to the most pressing global challenges. And of course, as Rishabh has been pointing out, India plays a very important role. Rishabh, thank you very much for the moment. Back after a short break.